What's going on? Tonight I want to just go over this interview. We're all familiar with, the two different interviews that, Channel 23 News had with the chief of police, Johnny Walker. I found the interview that was about 44 minutes long. So we're going to break down just the first part of it. I want to point out some things that I noticed and maybe you have noticed. So let's get to it.
So there seems to be a bit of a discrepancy of when the kids were reported missing. So when you guys responded to the parents' home, the adoptive parents' home, Trezell and Jacqueline West, when did they tell you they noticed the kids go missing?
The timeline that we received from them is the kids have been gone 15 to 20 minutes prior to them making the call to us. So they noticed the kids gone, they searched the house, they searched the immediate area, and I believe Trezell actually got in his car and went searching in his car, came back. When they came to the realization they needed help, they called us.
So you're saying from the moment they noticed Orson and Orrin West go missing, they told you that it was within 15 to 20 minutes of that time that they called police?
For their statement, that's correct.
What time exactly did police get a call for service?
The call got dispatched at 17:43, which would be 5:43 p.m. in the evening.
Okay.
On Monday, the 21st of December.
So you're saying that's when it was dispatched. When did the call come in? Just a few minutes prior to dispatch?
Yeah, it only took minutes once the call came in to dispatch the call out, and we were on scene within 6 minutes.
Okay, so that would be police arriving by 5:50-ish.
At least, yeah.
Okay. There needs to be probable cause for a search warrant to be granted by a judge.
Mm-hmm.
What was that probable cause to go in there with a search warrant?
Well, particularly when small kids are involved, we have the right to go in and search. So just for the protection of the kids, to make sure that, there's no foul play or the kids aren't somewhere inside the house.
Okay. What items were collected the first time of the search warrant?
Numerous items were collected that first time through. So I'm not going to disclose exactly what we took, but mostly basic items, mostly electronic items.
What kind of items?
Mostly electronic.
Phones,
computers. Yeah.
Okay.
iPads.
Has that since been returned to the parents?
Some of it.
Okay.
Some of it, to the best of my knowledge. I know for sure they've received their phones back.
Okay. What is it typically used for, luminol?
Generally blood, to the best of my knowledge.
Was there any sign of that in the van?
No.
Okay. In the initial search of the home, there were scent dogs used, correct?
Correct.
What was the purpose of that?
To locate the children. If they pick up the scent of the kids in the house, once they get the scent of the kids in the house, then they like us, start to widen their search. But the dogs never picked up any scent outside the house.
Can you put that in terms of why that is important to note, that there was no scent of the kids outside of the home?
It doesn't necessarily mean anything in particular, but it does lead us to believe that, the kids did not wander outside of the house. But once again, that's not necessarily, 100%. But the dogs didn't detect any scent outside the house.
These dogs are fully trained for this, correct?
Correct.
There was no extreme weather patterns that day that we know of. There wasn't extreme wind like there is now.
No.
Did you guys find that a bit alarming or of interest?
Of course. Of course.
Was there any other dogs used in the home?
Yes, we had a cadaver dog come in as well.
And what are cadaver dogs trained to do?
Find dead bodies. So, none found.
They didn't detect anything at all?
No.
Okay. How many additional times has law enforcement gone into the home?
Since the first day, we've been in there at least 4 times that I know of.
And what items were collected during those times?
Once again, several other items that we believe could be of evidentiary value.
And those are obviously items that you are unable to disclose at this time.
Correct.
Okay. What kind of work has been done in the backyard?
That backyard has been completely excavated by an FBI forensic team. We found some, piles of dirt back there. So just to be sure, we actually dug them up.
Sure of what?
Sure that there wasn't anything in the backyard that, could lead us to the kids.
Or being sure that the kids weren't in the backyard.
Correct.
Initially, you guys spoke to all the neighbors in the area.
Mm-hmm.
Did they mention any sightings of the boys?
Once they went missing?
Yes.
No.
And I recall at the time we spoke, you said that there was no sighting of the boys ever since they were there in September.
Originally, the neighbors we did contact said that they had no knowledge there were kids in the house, but since then we have had neighbors come forward and say that they did have knowledge that there were children staying in the house.
So neighbors had knowledge there was children in the home, but there was never a positive ID of Orrin or Orson, right?
No. Or any of the kids for that matter.
So none of the kids have ever been positively ID'd, but there has been neighbors that told you, hey, we were aware that there were children in the home.
That is correct statement.
Okay. Where was the last positive ID, hence the last time Orrin and Orson were seen?
To the best of our knowledge?
Yes.
The day that they went missing.
From the parents?
From the parents.
I'm talking about anyone other than the adoptive parents. Was there a last positive ID of Orrin and Orson West anywhere other than California City?
Probably in Bakersfield with the grandmother.
Okay, so then the grandmother confirmed a specific date where she saw the kids last.
Yes.
When was that?
I'm not going to disclose that.
Okay. Has there been anybody other than family that has positively ID'd, hence seen Orrin and Orson West in Bakersfield?
I would have to review the notes, but yes.
Yes, that there has been someone other than family that has seen the two kids.
Yes.
Positively ID'd them.
Yes.
Can you disclose that date?
No.
Okay, so we just heard the first part of the interview with the Chief of Police, Johnny Walker. Now, I told you this video is like 44 minutes long. I didn't want to download the whole video. It's entirely too long to sit and watch a video. So I'll do a second part probably tomorrow. There's a lot of things that I picked up. First thing is, let's go back to when he said they. They searched the immediate area. They searched the house. They searched the yard. Now, we know Trezell was outside, but we never seen Jacqueline. This is very important information because as a detective, you want your witnesses to be very detailed about what happened, because if there is any surveillance footage, it could back up your story or it can prove that you're lying. Now, me personally, I think he's trying to protect the integrity of Cal City Police. Now, they know the community and the neighborhoods are watching them work. So they don't want to be looked at as doing a half-assed job investigating this case. But what they have to understand is the community want answers. And they don't want to look bad, especially looking at YouTube and watching the YouTube community putting in more work and asking more questions than what they're doing. Now, the next thing I want to touch on is the time that the call actually dispatched. He said it happened at 5:43. Now, I love this goddamn interviewer. He said, but what time did the call come in? He said, well, it takes within minutes for it to reach us. Okay. Man, we know math. So we're going to go back, let's say 5:41 at the earliest. You said it took y'all about 6 minutes to get there. So let's do the math. Trezell got back at 5:39. We watched him stand outside for about 13 minutes. So let's say he called at 5:40. From what we see with the surveillance, it took about 13 minutes for someone to arrive. But the police stated it took them 6 minutes. So 13 minutes would put us at 5:53. 6 minutes would put us at 5:49. You see how the time is off? Now, I know some might say, well, the time is not off that much, but that's important. We're looking for some kids. All details should be looked at and dissected carefully. So the only thing that makes sense to me is Trezell called the police before he got out that van. He had to, if they got there within 6 minutes. So what you getting at, Blake? Well, Trezell stated when he got back, he went in and talked to his wife and said they need to call 911. But we never saw that happen. Now, the next thing I want to touch on is the fact that he kept stating, to the best of my knowledge. You know why he did that? Let's just go back and take a listen.
Has that since been returned to the parents?
Some of it.
Okay.
Some of it, to the best of my knowledge.
Now, he used that phrase about 3 times. And as a chief of police and someone who may have participated in interrogations, you pay attention to things like that. And we noticed when Trezell was interviewed, he made sure he didn't put a definite time or a definite answer on the questions he was asked. So we, or the police, cannot pinpoint and hold him responsible for any specific time. Now, he pretty much did the same thing. He don't want to be responsible for saying anything wrong. Now, I know a lot of people made fun and said, why is he an actor, or why is he singing in a country band when he should be focused on his job? Of course, my response was, that's his life. He can do that. In another interview, he stated that, he was a police officer in 2015 in Los Angeles. He took some time off. He did his thing, but he realized that being an officer was his passion, so he came back to it. He came to Cal City, and he applied for the chief of police. Now, Cal City only have 13 goddamn officers. So, to me, that says a lot of the officers are not qualified to be a chief of police. So the fact that he was there for 1 year doesn't mean he doesn't have experience. He has experience, but he only been in Cal City for 1 year. He applied for the job, he got it. Now, a second time he actually made that statement, to the best of my knowledge, is when they was talking about luminol and what it does.
What is it typically used for, luminol?
Generally blood, to the best of my knowledge.
The fuck you mean, Johnny? To the best of your knowledge. We know what luminol is made for. We watch ID Discovery. Well, I know I do. We know that it's used to find the presence of blood. Come on, Johnny. Now, you look just like a suspect because the vibe you giving off, you're trying to be super careful. Now, I know that they don't want to give out a lot of information to the public to possibly mess up the case, put the case at risk of not getting their main suspect. And oh yeah, I know they got a suspect. They just not going to tell us. You know why? Because they don't want the suspect to know that they're on to him. Because if you really think about it, just back up. When he asked the questions of, why did you bring the dogs in to sniff the house? We just wanted to make sure, the kids was in there, but, that's the only place we found the scent at. The scent didn't go outside the house. And then the interviewer asked, well, why did you let us know that? What's the importance of that? And he stated, well, the kids never made it out the house. Okay, but what did Trezell tell you? Trezell told you they was outside on the back patio playing with fucking chalk. But the dogs ain't pick up the scent. And then he said, well, it's not 100%. What the fuck do you mean, Johnny? It's not 100%. If that's the case, why do you use the motherfuckers? It's just like a lie detector test. It's not submissible in court because it's not 100% accurate. We know that. But you're going to use canines and say, well, it's not 100%. Johnny, come on, bro. Actually, Johnny, you look more nervous than a suspect that's being questioned about a crime that they know they're guilty for. Why are you so nervous? You over there shaking like a stripper, Johnny? Fuck it. The fact that Trezel's story don't match up with what your investigation have found should make them suspect number one. Point blank, period. Y'all feel me? Hopefully you do. Hopefully you picking up what I'm putting down, like my homeboy B1 say. But we gonna come back, because I know I don't like spending a lot of time and taking a lot of your time away. But we're gonna break down some more of this interview, because there's a lot more I want to touch on, and we're gonna watch a second part of the interview. Because you know what Johnny also said? Johnny said we've been going through surveillance. In his previous interview, he said he ain't seen no goddamn surveillance and he ain't heard about it. Make up your mind, Johnny. I'ma holler at y'all, man. One love.